We are going to be looking at some creepy videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. So, people in multiple spots in New York, not all over New York, but in certain locations, have been hearing this very strange sound and they do not know where it's coming from. And when I see something like this, when I hear something like this, I can't help but think that it's coming from below. And at the same time, people are hearing very strange things in New York. They are also saying how there has not been any sunlight and it's been very gloomy. I think the sun just recently came out, but people have been reporting that it's been nonstop fog, whether in the morning or at night, for over 10 days straight. This video comes from Paul Mantia Rock 72.
So is this normal to us, New York? Is this normal? This is normal weather, you mean? So we get this 10 days straight? This is normal. This is so abnormal. All night, all day, you can't see anything in front of you. Everything is completely fogged out. It kind of looks like we're at war in the United States, don't it? Kind of looks like what Israel looks like, in the daytime and at night. I wonder what they're doing to us now, don't you? I think we should start questioning this. I think everybody on TikTok needs to question what's going on with this weather and why it looks like this, because we've never had weather like this during the summertime. I mean, come on now.
Guys, this freaking fog that we're having is super strange. Like, I can't even explain this fog, you guys. I understand that in Jersey, like South Jersey's been like raining. It's been kind of shitty, you guys, to be honest with you. But this fog is definitely something that's super weird. I'm not gonna lie. When I have a big feeling, so what I do is I close like all the windows, because I have a feeling like this fog, there's something in it. I can't even explain it. And I think it's making us very tired and very not depressed, but feeling kind of weird about things. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know if you're in your cities, you're actually seeing the fog yourself. Let me know, but it is super strange, you guys. It doesn't feel right. It just doesn't, to be honest. All right, I love you guys and talk to you soon. Bye.
That video was from Yaz Divine Messenger 144, and these people in this location that are commenting on her video, they're also saying something's very off. There are people saying it's been nonstop fog, they haven't seen the sun, nonstop rain. This individual said, "You should see what my rain gauge caught. The rain was red, no telling what they put in the air." We are in South Jersey, and yes, something is off. It's not giving summer or natural. I'm in Pennsylvania and feel the same. Something is weird. So multiple people around the tri-state area, they are just noticing and hearing very strange things, and the weather has been very off. But while that is happening in the tri-state area, people in other locations are seeing very strange things in the skies. This was caught over in Canada on June 18th. These next two videos come from the paranormal chick, and what is this that fell out of the skies above Indianapolis?
Something weird happened overnight. What appears to be this gigantic concrete ball literally fell out of the sky, landed on a street in a neighborhood in Indianapolis. And luckily, it didn't hit anyone. It didn't damage cars, houses, nothing. It landed on the street. But the question remains is, where did this come from and whose is it? It's definitely man-made. But what was it doing in the sky? It almost makes you question a lot. And it really does make you question a lot of our conspiracy theories that are out there. Take a look at this, comment below, and if this was in your neighborhood, let us know what happened.
I have absolutely no idea what this could be, but what I don't understand is if this did indeed fall out of the sky, and some residents are saying that it did, it looks like it took no damage whatsoever. Some are suggesting that this could be even some type of satellite, but again, we would see some type of explosion or some type of wreckage, but then again, we don't know what this piece may have been connecting to.
Following footage was captured around June 14th, 2025 in Bridgeport, West Virginia, and it was by a man named Drew. They captured something that they can't explain or identify. And honestly, this is a different kind of footage. It's definitely a UFO, but what is it doing is the question. His friend did say maybe it was a cell tower, but he shows you where the cell towers are behind him. This is not a cell tower, this is something else, and it's almost like recharging in the air. Take a look at this footage, comment below, tell me what you think.
To me, anyway, it looks like three smaller objects making some kind of formation or making a much larger object, and it kind of reminds me what was seen during the MH370 video where those three orbs were circling the plane. Definitely some very good video footage. This could definitely be a drone, but we also have to remember just because it's a drone doesn't necessarily mean it belongs to members of the public. This next segment will actually play into the following segment because around 3:30 p.m. yesterday, people had noticed that during a severe storm, a bright, fast-moving object blazed across DC's radar. People are saying that this is not lightning, this is not a plane, this is a clean surgical streak across the sky, and it's not showing up on any flight trackers. Kari Lake, Trump's senior media advisor and former journalist, pulled it straight from Live Radar and posted it herself. She was quoted as saying, "Anyone know what is shooting across the radar over DC?" But this was not the only odd thing seen on weather radar. This was also captured over in Florida.
This is huge. This is a massive story. Record this, download this. This is a potentially dangerous story for me to share, but you need to see this because we need answers. I am happy, healthy, and not prone to accidents, just saying. For context, I do a radar and satellite review show on my website every single day. So when I tell you this is freaking weird, I know what frickin' weird is. As I was reviewing radar data, I spotted an anomaly in Florida. It appears that a wave was emanating from each tower, which was subsequently pushing the cloud cover and precipitation outward. That alone shouldn't happen. The mainstream narrative is that these towers only track systems, but here we have clouds and rain being moved in a perfect circular outward fashion at the exact same speeds near each tower. And look at this area. When the clouds collide in the middle between two separate waves from two separate towers. Then as I looked along the Gulf coastline, this is where things got even more crazy. All the towers along the coastline are doing the exact same thing at the exact same times. Texas, Louisiana. I mean, look at Louisiana. The wave is emanating outward to the point where the clouds and precipitation spreads out equally in all directions and is then eliminated. In fact, even more strange is at every area of precipitation near the towers along the Gulf and Atlantic coastline disappears simultaneously. And that's not even the craziest freaking part. The craziest frickin' part is the time code for when these waves occurred, about 1940 UTC. These areas felt seismic activity. The local news reported it as an earthquake at a 3.1 magnitude.
Well, at about 2:41 this afternoon, apparently there was an earthquake out about 10 miles deep in the Gulf, 70 miles south of Gulf Shores.
A rare event in this area. You heard me right. The moment we saw these waves around these towers, they reported that there was an earthquake. Here's the thing though. Earthquakes don't impact the atmosphere. It can't move clouds. It certainly wouldn't move clouds in perfect circular waves emitting outward from each and every tower along the entire Gulf coastline up to the Carolinas on the Atlantic coast. And I'm still trying to figure out, is this emanating from the towers themselves? Or is there something working with them in the ocean? So I looked a little further to see what I could find in the cloud cover in the Gulf around the time of the supposed earthquake. And I found this. What is moving these clouds out there like that? What are you guys doing?
That great video comes from Ariana Masters, and they keep telling us over and over again how extreme weather will be our new normal. And not just that, they're also saying how the 2025 hurricane season will be one of the worst in history, and we may also see something along the lines of a Category 6 hurricane. And I guess so, the way they keep poking, prodding, and manipulating nature, and they are finding more and more advanced ways to manipulate it.
Alright guys, got a little new conspiracy theory for you, which I wanted to share. It has to do with the pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca. It's a very well-known one, and as everyone knows, in the medical field, Latin is a key part of naming things, and so therefore the people involved with pharmaceuticals are very well versed in Latin and what the words mean. So is this just a coincidence? Who knows? But let's. So here's the website for AstraZeneca. There you go. There's the spelling of their name. Okay. So now let's go into Google Translate. And what we're going to do here is we're going to set it to Latin to English. All right. So let's type in AstraZeneca. Ooh, gotta spell it right though. AstraZeneca. There we go. Okay. So, no direct translation, but if you just simply go here, put a space between here, here, and here, right? You just put those spaces there, and the translation becomes A Road to Death. Not not making that up, guys. Go try it for yourself. Do Latin to English, type in AstraZeneca, and then just put those spaces in there and see what this word means from Latin to English. I doubt they accidentally did it. I mean, like I said, Latin's a very well used language in the naming of things in the medicine field. So try it for yourself, see what you think.
It really goes to show, and make no mistake about it, there is power in words. These people are occultists. They're all into spellcraft and spells. They choose their logos and their titles, their names, their brand names very carefully for a reason. This was not a coincidence. This next story is not only creepy, but it's downright disturbing. Now, I don't know if any of you all have already heard about what's going on over in Ireland, where they found over 800 babies inside a septic tank. This church back in I believe it was the 1950s to the 60s, if not earlier than that, it housed unwed women, pregnant women, and so forth. News and media, the way they're presenting the story, and we don't know what to really believe here because we do know that things like the underground tunnels exist, but news and media, they are saying that a lot of these babies and children, they passed away from disease and they were malnourished. This lady researching this, she finds that all these children passed away, but she could only find the graves of 2 children. So the question happened to be, where are the rest of the babies and the children that passed away? Come to find out. And again, what news and media are saying is that the babies, they were all buried in a septic tank, over 800. While I was researching that story, I came across this news story of what this man found in his freezer. And again, this story is very disturbing.
Lived in this apartment for years, and recently he moved in to help her when she got sick. About a week ago, she passed away, and that's when he started going through her things. But during that time, he came across something that he didn't want to find.
So I was just blown away.
There's a lot on Adam Smith's plate right now. He's not only packing up his life, he's also dealing with the death of his mom, Barbara.
Diagnosed with small cell lung cancer.
Smith recently moved into her South St. Louis apartment to help her while she was sick. And after she passed away last week, Smith started rummaging through her stuff.
And I was trying to figure out what I'm going to take and what I'm not.
As he was shuffling through the freezer to see what to keep or toss, he saw a box.
I'm 37, and it has been in my freezer for 37 years. And I was always told it was like a wedding cake top.
His curiosity took over. Smith thought in that box there could be that wedding cake top, or there could even be money.
I pulled it out and I set it directly right here. I grabbed this knife exactly right here, and I just cut through the plastic and opened it up.
But what his eyes saw was something he was not expecting.
And it turns out it was a baby.
The frozen baby was wrapped in a pink fleece.
It still had skin, hair, and everything. It was mummified. After that, I just freaked out. I put it back into the box, and I called police right away.
Smith tells us that he never thought to look in that box before.
I've asked her several times. It was either a no conversation, she blew me off. My mom has always been so secretive about things throughout life.
Smith started to realize that his mom mentioned before about his sibling passing away before he was born.
We're saying, 46, 47? That's how long, I assume it's my sister, has been in a box in a freezer for this long.
A shaken-up Smith is disturbed after unveiling a chilling secret that's been tucked away for years.
Finding this, I'm more like confused, angry, and I just want to find closure. I want to know more answers.
Britney Spears' previous home was supposedly so haunted that she had to leave. Then another celebrity moved into it and mysteriously passed away. On an episode of the podcast called We Need to Talk About Britney, Britney's former makeup artist joined the conversation. She said that while Britney was living in this house, she had some type of spiritual transformation and invited someone over who claimed to be a spiritual healer. But after this supposed spiritual healer left, something didn't feel right to her. Britney told her former makeup artist that she thought the spiritual healer may have opened some type of portal, and she claimed that there were evil spirits inside of the house trying to harm her by doing things like pushing her down the stairs. The entire situation must have scared Britney pretty badly because she left the home immediately and never returned. She then sold the house and everything inside of it to Brittany Murphy. And as many of you might already know, Brittany Murphy died in that house under very suspicious circumstances. Her husband Simon also died 5 months after her in the same room. After Britney's death, Simon gave an interview stating that his wife tried to avoid the house at all costs. He said that he felt that maybe the property was unlucky, and he planned to move his wife and his mother to New York City, where they intended to start a family. Then, after Simon's death, his mother was quoted saying, "All I know is that before Simon's death, he was having hallucinations that things were crawling out of his skin." Take a listen and let me know what you think.
She swears to God that they're like, he opened some spirit portal or something, and these bad spirits had come in, and it was like a male and a female, and they were trying to like push her down the stairs or something crazy. It was so bad that she left. She went to the Casa del Mar Hotel to stay there and never went back to that house again. She put her house on the market, and guess who bought that house?
Who?
And died in it. Brittany Murphy.
That video was from Oddities on Elm Street, and I didn't know that Brittany Murphy passed away in the same home that Britney Spears found to be haunted and she had to leave. I always found what happened to Brittany Murphy and her husband to be very suspicious, but this adds an extra layer of suspicion to it. But I guess whatever was in the home was coming after a Britney regardless.
I really just found the weirdest thing I've ever found on Google Earth. I don't know if everybody knows about this, and I just live under a rock. I like to just randomly look through Google Earth, and this is not my first time. I don't ever remember seeing this. Can someone else tell me? The Bermuda Triangle, right here. Is there supposed to be a literal eye there? I mean, does this not literally look like an eye inside of the Bermuda Triangle? Like, you guys can see it too, right? Has this always been there? Like, is it just me?
Now, I'm not saying that's an eye because our minds can definitely play tricks on us, but it definitely does look like one. And what's even more interesting is that this is the Bermuda Triangle we're talking about, where a lot of strange things do indeed happen. And if you do take a closer look, it does look like this eye is around a star or a pentagram. That's a very good catch by K-Podge.
It's you. Say it. What is it? Grand Central. What is it? Here's a picture to remind you. What is this called? Is this called Grand Central Station or is it called Grand Central Terminal? It's actually called Grand Central Terminal. When did that change? For me, it has always been Grand Central Station. I don't know when that changed, but apparently it is Grand Central Terminal. New York, only in New York. When did that, speaking of New York, let's do one more thing in New York. Where is the Statue of Liberty located? Where is the Statue of Liberty located? Come on, this is America. We all should know this. Where is Lady Liberty located? Is it Liberty Island or is it Ellis Island? A lot of people thought that it was Ellis Island, including myself. In my timeline, it was Ellis Island. But apparently, it is Liberty Island. Yes, Lady Liberty is on Liberty Island, even though in some pictures, it kind of contradicts itself, and it looks like it's actually on Ellis Island, but it's actually on Liberty Island. When did that change? But here's the ticker. Here is a 1985 coin. And what does that coin say? This is an actual coin of the Statue of Liberty. And what does that say? It says Ellis Island. New York. What's going on? Let me know if you remember. I
always felt like the location of the Statue of Liberty seems to flip-flop. First it's on Liberty Island, then it's on Ellis Island, and then it's back on Liberty Island. Which is kind of weird because I do remember there was a Mandela effect, how people were saying the Statue of Liberty shouldn't be on Ellis Island, it should be on Liberty Island, that's why it's called Liberty Island, yet for whatever reason it was on Ellis Island. The whole thing's just very bizarre.
We've never had a nose ring. There is a brand new Mandela effect, and it's whether the Laughing Cow has ever had a gold nose ring or not. But on my last video, even the Laughing Cow replied, we've never had a nose ring. But if you look on the comments on that same video, yes, she did. Yep. Yes. Yes. I remember the nose ring. Yes, I remember a nose ring. So I'm like, maybe we're just confusing it with the Chicago Bulls logo. But sorry to disappoint, there is no gold nose ring, which I really thought there was, so we could probably do a whole video on that. And I know marketing stuff changes all the time, so I went over to Google. Did the Laughing Cow ever have a nose ring? No, the Laughing Cow cheese, as portrayed in its branding, has never had a nose ring. And if you go over to their page, somebody else asked, yes, you had a nose ring, don't play with me. But even in their corporate offices, there's no nose ring on that image. Can't tell if the internet is gaslighting us or if we're gaslighting them at this point. I mean, I know this is all in good fun, but why does everybody remember the nose ring? Like everybody. Is there some other brand we're remembering, or is this an actual Mandela effect?
This is another bizarre Mandela effect to me, but when it comes to the Chicago Bulls, I do not remember the Chicago Bulls logo having a nose ring, but when it comes to the Laughing Cow, I can definitely vividly remember the Laughing Cow having a golden nose ring. But I do want to hear from you all. Do you all remember the same thing when it comes to the Laughing Cow logo?
I saw something in Lake Superior. They're like scanning some part of the lake, and they literally found these giant monolith stones that were erected very similar to Stonehenge in Lake Superior.
Oh, no way.
With ancient carvings on them.
Oh, cool.
Recently? That's crazy. Yeah, there's like, because you know, the Great Lakes filled up because of the last ice age. So the glaciers that melted made those lakes.
Wow. It's crazy you bring up Lake Superior because that's where Old Whitey is.
Sorry.
Lake Superior is freezing, but for some reason people still dive up there.
Oh.
And so there's a ship that sunk, and it's a rite of passage there. There's an old man who was wearing a cork vest. He's stuck in the hull of a sunken ship, and it's a diver's rite of passage to approach Old Whitey and you shake his hand.
Ew. That is so barbarian. Get him out.
It's like One-Eyed Willie from the Goonies.
Yeah. Literally, he just floats in the hull.
Old Whitey wanted to be buried at sea. I've always wanted to be buried at sea.
Lay me with the ship.
I guess it's really...
Shake my hand. Lay me with my darling. Shake my hand. I'm Old Whitey.
Dude, imagine it just squeezes your hand back.
I saw something in...
There is definitely something odd beneath the Great Lakes, more specifically Lake Superior, and I still wonder sometimes what that ship had ran into to cause it to take on water. We still never had any answers to that event.
You're gonna get a weird feeling in your body when you watch this documentary, but you're also gonna learn a lot, especially about the company that was behind this whole concert, which was Live Nation. Before it even started, this whole disaster of Astroworld was predictable, and Live Nation was sending texts saying there's no way we can fit 50,000 people in this concert, and staff were texting during the concert saying people are passing out, people are unconscious, full-on panic is in people's eyes, and yet they didn't stop the show. Literally acknowledge that someone could lose their life in this situation, which many people tragically did. I mean, there are disturbing scenes of people doing CPR in the crowd, and in the background, Travis Scott is just full-on performing, and they never whispered in his earpiece, which they could have, to stop the show. The documentary explains how the crowd setup basically became a trap because people were coming in from the sides to see the show, and then once the music started, people got boxed in by the crowd barriers and there was almost no way for them to get out. Some of the workers on the documentary said they were even told to play into the whole chaos. The promo videos literally showed people jumping over fences to get in, and that's exactly what happened. Now, the documentary doesn't cover this, but I think there's something way deeper, and it's the symbolism behind the whole concert. If you've been following me, you've probably seen the videos already, but the stage in itself was shaped as an upside down cross, and behind that was a portal, and the portal says the escape plan, which is ironic because people were literally finding out ways to escape. It also said things like see you on the other side. Even the shirt Travis Scott was weird in itself. It's people walking into a door and they're coming out as little red devils. There's just way too many red flags, and you can go watch some of my old videos if you want to go see all the symbolism, because there's a lot more. But the worst part of it all is that no one was criminally charged, and it felt like no one was held responsible for this. And then Travis Scott went on to break records in 2024, selling out one of the highest grossing tours of all time, and it was produced by Live Nation.
So people are talking about Astroworld again because of this documentary that came out, but all those people that lost their lives at that concert were a sacrifice. Let us also not forget all those shadows that were jumping through the crowd, and what really stood out to me was how Travis Scott, he looked like he was in some kind of trance as the bodies were being lifted up. Just a horrific, evil concert.
You think nothing will truly disturb you or keep you up at night? I dare you to look up how many people have gone missing from Nome, Alaska. Because from 1960 to 2004 alone, 24 people disappeared from this remote, isolated town, and it is terrifying. That's what happened to Joseph Balderas and Florence Okpiola, who disappeared within 4 years of each other in Nome. Residents in the town are on edge because of these mysterious disappearances that just keep happening, and the majority of them are still unsolved, so Let's talk about it. This disturbing reality was brought to my awareness after listening to the Up and Vanished podcast, where the host, Payne Lindsay, actually traveled to Nome to investigate the disappearances of Joseph and Florence. Their new season sheds light on how both of them seemingly vanished into thin air. Let's start with Joseph. Joseph moved to Nome in 2014 and quickly fell in love with the little town. He was a law clerk with Nome's 2nd District Court. He was described as incredibly smart, kind, and was good at pretty much everything he did. He was about to move to Juneau with his fiancée, and overall life just seemed really great for them. That is until June of 2016. Joseph was last seen on June 24th, 2016, but he very mysteriously disappeared after this, and what followed has never been explained. 3 days came and went with no sign of Joseph. His fiancée wasn't able to get a hold of him, and he no-called, no-showed work, which was extremely out of character for him. So one of his colleagues reported him missing, and a massive search was launched. That very same day, police found his abandoned truck at mile 44 of the Nome Council Highway. It was unlocked, and inside was his backpack that contained fishing supplies, waders, and boots, but Joseph was nowhere to be found. Police assumed that he was just in the area hiking or running, but it would soon be clear that something horrible happened to him. Police, along with search and rescue and the U.S. Coast Guard, scoured the area for Joseph, but found nothing, and it was like he vanished into thin air. The search for Joseph was called off after just 9 days after finding no evidence of what happened to him. Police are not ruling out foul play, and there are some theories as to what could have happened, but to this day, Joseph and the truth remain missing. It didn't take long for tragedy to strike Nome again, because just 4 years later, another person would go missing under mysterious circumstances. Florence Okpialek was 33 years old when she disappeared from Nome on August 31st, 2020. Florence was a native of Wheels, Alaska, but had moved to Nome in 2013. Similar to Joseph, she was last seen leaving a tent on West Beach at around 4 p.m. that day, and after this, she vanished into thin air. A massive search for her was conducted as well, which involved Nome police, the FBI, and the U.S. Coast Guard, but the only thing ever found was Florence's shoes, socks, and jacket. And just like Joseph, to this day, Florence remains missing. So I heard about this disturbing mystery after listening to the podcast Up and Vanished. I don't know if any of you listen to this podcast, but the host, Payne Lindsay, is so incredibly talented. This isn't just a typical true crime podcast, because Payne and his team have spent years working together and traveling to different places like Nome to get on-the-ground coverage, which is pretty rare for a podcast. He is extremely hands-on, and his approach is boots-on-the-ground investigative journalism, which I love. His new season already has 2 parts that are up and ready to listen to, and I highly suggest you all go listen to this. It's insane what he's able to uncover by simply going to these places and investigating, especially since these cases have stalled. So he's really picking up where the police have left off, directly working with the victims' families to get justice for their loved ones. You can listen to Up and Vanished on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but I'm curious to know what you guys think is really happening in Nome, Alaska.
So, as most of you already know by now, I have been following this content creator, Shiloh Hill, who bought a pair of bloody boots off the dark web. These pair of boots, whether it's boots, shoes, what have you, they have a name and an age attached to them. So this has been the most recent update in regards to all this.
So if you've been following the saga of the shoes that were purchased off the dark web by So if you've been following the saga of the shoes that were purchased off the dark web by Shiloh of the WWE, there is another chapter. As you know, he took a heel off one of the shoes and found a tracking chip. He's since gotten a burner phone. This is the burner phone that he purchased. What he wants to do is take the chip that was in the tracking device and put it into the burner phone to see what it's been tracking. Here is a look at what he found out.
I got pretty much the cheapest unlocked phone that I could get. I'm hoping that this thing has some type of browser on it, but by the looks of it, that might be kind of unlikely. Let's see if we got some charge in this battery. Here we go. At least if I don't learn anything about the SIM card, I can start trapping. Okay, let's see what we got. Ooh, 4G LTE, let's go. Okay, let's see if this thing has a phone number. Calling myself. Okay. Oh, call ended. Okay, fail. See what this browser's talking about. Okay. Ooh, we have internet. Okay. The cell carrier is. Now it's saying AT&T up there. Up in the top left. Okay, this is interesting. City Naperville, Region, Illinois. Belgacom. That's really weird. All these sites are giving me drastically different locations.
So basically, putting the SIM card into the cell phone didn't do the trick.
Regardless of the SIM card is definitely functional in terms of cellular data, which means we gotta plug into this thing and see what it was sending. So I ordered a USB to serial converter, and it should be here tomorrow.
So now you know there'll be a part 5 as to what this chip was tracking. But on another note, he did go back to the website to see if any other shoes were added. Here's the result. Take a look. I freeze framed it for you. It says Onion site has disconnected. Could that be because he found the tracking device and he is going to track the people that are tracking him?
All right, so I ordered some boots off the dark web, and they had this little GPS tracker in them. I figured out that the tracker was trying to send my location to a phone number, and so today on my live stream, I called it. So it's hella seductive.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for
What?
more options.
Oh no, I know bro's probably trying to be scary, but that sounds like so like why is he moaning into the phone? So I said this one back. Oh, I'm coming for you. I know who you are and what you did, and I'm gonna pay that price.
If you're satisfied with the message,
And we're gonna see where this goes. All right, so I ordered some boots off the dark.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.